I knew you were lying.
No, please, it's not what you think.
Don't lie to me!
Stop it, both of you.
Once upon a time, in a vibrant village, nestled between the lush green hills of West Africa, there lived a man named Kofi. Kofi was a proud man, known throughout the village for his strength and his wealth. He owned vast stretches of farmland, a fleet of beautiful kola nut trees, and a large compound that was the envy of many. He drove a shiny car that gleamed under the sun and wore finely stitched clothes, all signs of his prosperity. But behind his prosperous facade was a heart clouded with pride and arrogance. Kofi often looked down on those who were poorer than him, believing that money and status were the truest measure of a person's worth. Kofi was married to a beautiful woman named Amma. Amma was known for her kindness, intelligence, and unwavering patience. She was the daughter of a humble farmer, but her beauty and grace made her stand out everywhere she went. Her skin glowed like polished mahogany, her eyes sparkled with warmth, and her laughter was soft yet infectious. Their marriage was considered a happy union by the villagers, who often admired the couple's contrasting personalities, Kofi's pride and Emma's humility. But beneath the surface, Kofi's pride often made him dismiss Emma's worth, thinking her simple ways were not enough for a man of his standing. Amma, on the other hand, loved Kofi sincerely. She cooked his favorite meals, tended to the compound with diligence, and treated the villagers with respect and generosity. She believed that love and patience could soften even the hardest hearts. She had never once complained about Kofi's arrogance, always reminding herself that every person has their flaws. One day, news spread through the village about a wealthy woman visiting from the city. Her name was Zainab, and she was no ordinary woman. She was a billionaire heiress, born into a family that had amassed wealth through generations of trade, commerce, and industry. Zainab had grown up surrounded by luxury, but she carried herself with elegance and humility. Unlike the braggarts who flaunted their riches, she was visiting her ancestral village to reconnect with her roots and see the land her family had once owned. Zainab was a striking woman with piercing eyes that seemed to see through the very soul of a person. Her presence commanded attention, and her calm, confident demeanor made everyone in the village feel both awed and nervous. She had come accompanied by a small entourage of trusted aides, but it was her poise and warmth that truly drew people to her. Her arrival caused a stir among the villagers, who gathered along the main road, craning their necks to catch a glimpse of the famous heiress. Kofi, upon hearing about Zainab's visit, was instantly captivated by her beauty and charm. He saw an opportunity not only to impress her, but to elevate his status in the village. He imagined that winning her favor could make him more respected, more powerful, and perhaps even wealthier if he played his cards right. From that moment, Kofi made it his mission to impress Zainab. He organized grand feasts, decorated his compound with colorful lanterns, and invited villagers to witness his hospitality. He showed off his farmland, the kola nut trees that bore the sweetest nuts in the region, and even his herd of goats and cattle. He boasted about his wealth and achievements, exaggerating stories to paint himself as a man of unmatched status. But Zainab, a woman of wit and wisdom, saw through his boastfulness. She recognized that beneath his pride was a man desperately seeking validation. trying to mask insecurity with material possessions. Meanwhile, Amma continued her simple life, tending to her family, cooking meals, and supporting her husband in quiet humility. She noticed Kofi's fascination with Zainab but chose to remain silent, believing that love and sincerity would prevail in the end. She watched him sneak glances at Zainab during the feasts and felt a pang of worry in her heart. She knew Kofi could be easily blinded by vanity, and she feared what that might bring. But she reminded herself, patience and integrity are sometimes the strongest shields. One evening, during a lavish party organized in honor of Zainab, Kofi's desire to impress her reached its peak. Musicians played drums and flutes under the moonlight, the air fragrant with the smell of roasted yams and spicy stews, and villagers danced and sang in celebration. Kofi, dressed in his finest embroidered agbada, decided to take Zainab for a walk around his compound, showing her his prized possessions and speaking grandly of his successes. As they strolled under the soft glow of lanterns, Kofi suddenly became overwhelmed with emotion, perhaps fueled by jealousy, pride, or a longing for admiration. He noticed Emma serving guests, smiling politely, and a twisted sense of anger rose in him. He felt mocked by her simplicity, as if her humility highlighted his failures in impressing Zainab. In a fit of rage, he slapped Emma in front of everyone, including Zainab. The slap echoed through the night air, silencing the celebration. Amma, stunned and humiliated, stumbled backward, clutching her cheek. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she held her head high, refusing to let shame consume her. Villagers gasped and whispered among themselves, some covering their mouths in shock. Zainab, witnessing this act of violence, was deeply disturbed. She saw the true character of Kofi, his arrogance and cruelty, and realized that wealth and beauty did not define a person's worth. Zainab quickly approached Amma, her presence gentle yet commanding. She offered her hand and whispered, "Do not let his anger define you. Your worth is in your strength and dignity." Amma, with trembling lips, nodded, grateful for the heiress's kindness. The next morning, Zainab called Kofi to a private meeting under the shade of the ancient baobab tree at the center of the village. She expressed her disappointment in his actions, her voice calm but firm. "True wealth," she said, "is built on integrity, respect, and compassion. Your pride and cruelty will never bring you honor. If you wish to be remembered, change your ways now." Kofi, humbled by Zainab's words and the villagers' reactions, felt shame prick his conscience like never before. He had let pride and jealousy blind him from seeing the true value of his wife and himself. His chest heaved with regret as he realized that his actions had almost destroyed the love he had taken for granted. He knelt before Amma and apologized sincerely, his voice breaking. "Amma, forgive me. I was blind, foolish, and cruel. Please, allow me to make amends." Amma, with a gentle smile and tears still in her eyes, forgave him, but she made it clear that such behavior was unacceptable. "Kofi," she said softly, "love is not measured by wealth or pride. Respect is earned through kindness, not fear." Zainab, moved by the events and Amma's resilience, decided to stay in the village longer. She used her influence to help the villagers improve their lives, building schools for the children, clinics for the sick, and marketplaces for traders. She also took Emma under her wing, mentoring her in business, leadership, and self-confidence. Amma learned quickly, discovering a newfound courage and vision for her own life, beyond the shadows of her husband's pride. Over time, Kofi worked hard to shed his arrogance and embrace humility. He spent days helping villagers with their farms, repairing homes, and showing genuine care for those he once looked down upon. He rebuilt his relationship with Amma, demonstrating respect, love, and partnership. The villagers noticed the change, and slowly, the compound that once symbolized Kofi's pride became a beacon of hope, kindness, and generosity. Amma, empowered by Zainab's mentorship and her own inner strength, began small business ventures that uplifted her family and the village. She opened a weaving cooperative, taught young girls to read, and created opportunities for local artisans. Kofi supported her wholeheartedly, proud of her intelligence and determination. Finally, realizing that true greatness was not in flaunting wealth but in nurturing love, respect, and community. And so, in the heart of that African village, a story of pride, humility, love, and redemption unfolded. A story where a slap did not mark the end but sparked a transformation. A tale where a billionaire heiress became a guiding light. A patient wife reclaimed her dignity, and a proud man learned the power of humility. The village flourished, and the echoes of kindness, respect, and genuine love resonated through the hills. A reminder that true wealth is found not in material riches but in the dignity of the human spirit and the bonds of the heart.